أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. um, حياكم الله جميعا. Welcome to everyone. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure the video is recording. Now, yes. جيد. So as you know, inshallah, we'll be starting with our sharh explanation of one of the most famous book in learning or teaching Arabic language, which is it's called, we use the term Madinah book, but as some of you probably know, actual name of the book is دروس اللغة العربية لغير ناطقين بها. It's a pretty long name. So basically what it means is the Arabic lessons of Arabic language for non-native speakers. So I'm not going to be spending too much time about the book. I've done it before, and I'm pretty sure some of you already know. And I also explained to you the way we will approach this book. So inshallah, we won't spend too much time talking about this. Bottom line is that I mentioned to you that we will be focusing on the grammar element of this book. Okay, so it will be a little bit of like intensive, you can think, or you can think about express way of covering this book. So, and I also mentioned the ideal candidate for this course. If you're a complete beginner, it still is very approachable, but it's just that you will need a little bit extra work from your part. And I will explain to you and I will guide you what you need to do after each lesson. But the way we will need 3 books in order to uh, follow this course. Okay, you will need 3 books. Number one is which one is the primary book. Okay, so this is the primary book that the author, Dr. Abdul Rahim Rahimullah, he wrote down. This is the primary book that we all know about Medina book. So we'll start with the book 1, right? Now, this book has many different edition, right? There are many different editions that we have. Different publisher has a different cover page, and I think this is one of the older cover page and maybe well known by most of you. Uh, and then there are other types of book which is based on this book, something that you might be familiar with, which is this one, which is they call it Madinah Arabic Reader. So this is essentially same book, but what they do is that they divide the books into different, the main one book, this one book, they will divide into 2 books. So book 1 and book 2. In this edition, book 1 and book 2 would be equal to book 1 of the main edition. Okay. So, and then I think they divide the book 2 into 3 parts and like so. So it doesn't matter which one you're following, you need to have one of these 2 books, like one of the main edition book. So you have to have the primary book. And then, of course, we will be using the sharh, the explanation. So you also need to have this PDF. Now, this is very easy to get, but if you're in my Telegram channel, I've shared this PDF, so you can definitely have this PDF is, it's not a problem to get online. But the issue is that this book is, as you can see, is completely in Arabic. But what I'm planning to do, something that I'm thinking about, that I might translate as we go. I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking out loud. I might translate, and for example, I might write the English right here, right on the PDF. Okay, then English here. Something if I do during the class, it's going to take a lot of time. For example, I can start here. Uh, Let me write it. The demonstrative pronoun, something like that. I might translate on the PDF itself. Uh, and and then what? How do I undo it? Oh, and then I might share that PDF as well. This book, this explanation, the sharh that this author did is excellent. He's not just merely explaining, he's picking every single element that the author introduced in the initial book, and sometimes he does even more things that the author probably didn't want to explain. So this is a very good one. So this is the second book that you need. Okay. The third book that you need is a vocabularies. Okay, for each books they have this vocabulary PDF. This is also for free. You can get them because what's going to happen, as you know, I'm going to explain to you, and for you to follow it through, either you're following through this book or this book, you might come across some words that you don't know, and then you will certainly, inshallah, you'll find them here. Okay, so make sure you have these three books to follow along. That's one. Second thing, so the first class I have to talk about some logistics as usual. Second thing is that this explanation lecture, when I'm doing the explanation, so this would be a little bit of more like, I'm going faster, just going through what this author is talking about. I'm translating word for word and explaining as it needs, and then follow through whatever he wrote. Like if he give an example, we'll go through the examples. Now, so I think with that we can probably get started. So we're starting with, as you know, the sharh. So in this, when we are talking about explanation, we'll only focus on the explanation PDF, not the original text. And the book starts with ad-darsul awwal. Ad-darsul awwal is the first lesson. And the author, one of them, everybody knows that Medina book, the first word the author introduced in his book is hada. Okay, so now this explanation, they will talk about what does it mean. But as we know, the hada, it means this in English translation. Okay, it is not exactly like that. There's some minor details you need to be aware of, and this is what the explanation will talk to you about right now. Now, so he says, هذا اسم إشارة. Ismu ishara, it means demonstrative pronoun. Okay, I don't think I'm going to write all the English, to be honest with you. I'll just say it in English and try to follow it through. And then when I do post the translation, then you can see the actual English translation. And if I do post the video, you can review them, inshallah. Okay. So he's saying hada, it means ismu ishara, which means a demonstrative pronoun. Ishara means to point at something, okay? And isim has different meanings based on context. Isim can mean, name. For example, you name ismuka, Bismillah, with the name of Allah. But isim, in the grammatical sense, it can also mean noun and this type of category. So this is the meaning that we have here. So it is a pointing noun, meaning it's demonstrative pronoun. Lil mufrad. So just like we know, when you say this, we're talking about singular. Mufrad means singular, one item. In English, we don't use this for many items. We use these. So this is for mufrad. This is very easy, right? Singular. Then I'm going to skip this one. Then he says al-qarib. Qarib is for something near. And that's also what we understand from this. We don't use this for something that is far. We say that. So qarib means this. Qarib means near. And some of the word I really, really appreciate. I really think you should memorize as we go. These words are extremely common words that you will be seeing left and right. So there's no point of ignoring them. Okay, especially if I write the meaning here during the lesson. If I'm taking my time writing it, please make sure that you know the word. So qarib is near. So we use this for hada, for something that is for singular, and something for near. And then he says what? Al-mudhakkar. Mudhakkar is masculine. Okay, masculine. So this is why we have a little bit of difference with this in English and this in hada in Arabic. Because when we say this in English, we don't make any differentiate between masculine or feminine. We say this is a girl and we say this is a boy. But apparently, what the author is saying is that we have to use hada only for masculine. Okay, so inshallah we will see in the examples. And then he says al-aqil and wa ghayr aqil. Aqil is another term, technical term, which will be used quite often. It means, in simple sense, you can think about intellect. Okay. And by the way, my English spelling is terrible. Anyone who studied with me, they know very well. So if I do make mistake, it's your job to correct. If not, just ignore it. So aqil is intellect, and ghayr aqil, it means non-intellect. Ghayr, usually we can translate as none or not. Okay. So what he's saying is that we use this for something that is intellect. By the way, intellect here, just think about for easy purpose, just human being, human. Okay, human. Just think about for now. And ghayr intellect would be anything else, object, animals, doesn't matter. فهمتم? So we can use hada for a thing, for example, pen, we can use hada qalamun, we will see then examples, or we can also use it for human being, hada waladun. But what we can't do, we cannot say hada bintun, meaning hada, this is a girl. So that's the first thing. Then now he gives some examples. He says al-aqil. So now he's giving you an example of the intellect, how we use for intellect and how we use for غير aqil. So هذا رجل. So this is a man. So at this point, the interesting thing about هذا is that once you know the rules, in order to compose a sentence, all you need is a word after that. And how it works, the nominative sentence and everything, this is not the time. The author will explain later on. But for now, just think about after hada, you just plug in any noun, which we'll talk about, which has to be indefinite. We'll also explain what indefinite means later. Then you will have a complete sentence. So rajul is man. So you say hada rajul. That means it is a man. I mean, this is a man, not it is. This is a man. فهمتم? So now it will be just a matter of knowing the word, and then you should be able to follow everything through. Yes, now common nouns. Ahsant. And one thing you will notice, something that I usually explain the first lesson of any of my class, and some of you probably know, which is I always explain to you that this is something that you have to know. So it's mind as well, get through it in the beginning. When we talk about noun, noun, and we just mentioned to you that in Arabic we say isim. You have to know that all the nouns by default, here's another term you're always going to hear me say a lot. Default meaning its original state, we're always going to be using a tanween of dhamma. So this is default. So if you want to use a common noun or any noun, it's not only common noun, it is whether a name of a person or anything, your common default state is that it's going to end in tanween of dhamma, not tanween of fatha, not ismin, now, not isman. We can have ismin and isman, but we need to have a reason why we're doing that. But without a reason, by default, it will always be a tanween of dhamma. That's what we have. Rajulun waladun. فهمتم? And then we will learn that this end haraka, the last haraka, it is something has to do with the grammar of this, the grammatical state of this word. Then inshallah we'll talk about this when it comes. But for now, just think about any word just make sure it has tanween of dhamma. And slowly we will see the exception. We don't start with exception. So walad is what? Boy. Then say هذا شيخ. What does shaykh mean? Anybody know what does shaykh mean? And I'll give you a clue. It has many different meanings. Huh? What does shaykh mean? One of the meaning is the most primary meaning of shaykh is elder, ahsant, elder person. Yes, older person. This is the primary meaning of sheikh. Shakha, yashukhu, inshallah we'll learn, or yashikhu, subhanallah, I'm not sure the present tense not coming. It means to grow old. Okay, grow old. But we also use sheikh for someone who's noble person, a noble person or respected person. And we also use sheikh for teacher, scholar. Okay, فهمتم? So all of this meaning will work. Excellent, yes. So you say هذا شيخ, this is an elder person or scholar based on the context. Then we have غير عاقل. So now author is going to explain or give you examples of where we are using هذا in the context of something that is not intellect, not human being. So we have kitab. What does kitab means? Who doesn't know what kitab means? Kitabullah, right? It's a book. So we say هذا kitabun. Okay, and we say هذا babun. So bab is door. Okay, and then هذا قلم. Qalam is pen. So as you can see, once you know هذا, wallahi, you can make so many sentences. Just look through your home and just start pointing around. People might tell you're going crazy, but don't worry about that. Just point this one and say هذا مكتبون, هذا بابون, هذا مفتاحون, هذا, just keep on saying it. But of course, you have to make sure you are following this rule. You have to follow these rules. Okay, it has to be something that is near. You cannot look into the moon and say هذا. It's not going to work, right? And make sure it is not feminine. It is masculine. Then the original book talked about ma hadha. Okay, this is the second grammatical uh, topic that in this lesson we have. So, which is very simple. Hadha is this. We already learned. Ma has a lot of different meanings, honestly, but here ma means what. Okay, ma means what. So obviously, ma hadha would be what is this. And as you can see, I think you probably have noticed something that when we say هذا قلم, we say this is a pen. And in Arabic, we don't use the word is, although it exists, كان يكون, but we don't use it. Okay, so only thing we have to do is we plug هذا and then we use a indefinite noun. We'll talk more about these things. So here it would be the same thing. We say what is this. So we have to plug in this just because of English language. It has nothing to do with Arabic. Arabic is fine as it is. But in English, we need to use the is. So this is our job, is to plug in. Now, so what is ma? Now he will be talking about ma. He says ma ismu istifham. Again, the word ism is coming. So it is a noun of istifham, is a questioning, question. Okay, so this is a noun of question. So that means uh, you're asking a question. So as you can see, inshallah, this is a little bit technical. What does it mean to be noun in this context? We will ignore that. Just think about this is for questioning. And then we also have the word غير عاقل. Told you this word will be coming a lot. عاقل and غير عاقل. Intellect and non-intellect. غير means none. So that means what we understand is that what author is trying to say, when he say ma, this what question that we're doing, it is for questioning about something that is non-intellect. And believe it or not, as we know, this is precisely same thing in English. We use what for objects. We don't look at a human being and say, what is this? That is weird, right? We say, who is this? And that will come later. So just if you think about mice, what, I think will be safe. Now, so now he gives an example. He said, Ma hadha, what is this? And then because we already know the answer, we know the construction of using hadha, we can just answer the question as well. We can say, Hadha kitabun. Ma hadha, hadha kitabun. But what he's showing you here You cannot look at a person, say ma hada. This is fine. There's nothing wrong with the sentence structure. And your answer is hada rajulun. This sentence is also fine. There's nothing wrong with these sentences. But you're using a wrong word. Okay? You're using ma hada when you're looking at human being. It has to be what? غير عاقل. It has to be non-intellect. So this is wrong. Inshallah, we'll see very soon. We have to use man. Here's another example. Ma hada, hada babun. So your vocabs. If you don't know what bab means, here's you can go back here. Okay, you will see all the words. 100% sure bab is somewhere here. Here's the bab. Okay, door. Now, and then he's also showing you that you cannot use ma for walad. Why? Walad is a person, a boy. Naam. So you don't say ma hada. Okay, we'll learn what to say, but we say ma hada for bab, ma hada for a desk. You say hada maktabun, ma hada baytun, hakada. Now, the next topic that this book introduced is this hamza. As you can see, this part we already know. Hada sarirun. What is sarir? Sarir is bed. Okay, so this is, we already know, same thing, but looks like we have one extra letter. Okay, this is called hamza. And this is what here in the chart is explaining to you. Hamza, it is called hamzatul istifham. As you can see, this word is repeating. Okay, istifham. So istifham means questioning. And these things, what does istifham means, honestly, you don't have to learn. This is just explanation, so these are complicated word probably at this stage. Don't worry about this, but I will tell you which word, which are the words you need to know from the explanation itself. So this is the hamzatul istifham. So we call it hamzatul istifham, meaning we use this hamza for questioning. But this is a different type of question. This is not asking question, what is this? This is a question about yes or no. Harfun jawabuhu. It is a harf, a particle. What is a particle? We'll talk about later. It is a particle which answer has to be naam, yes, aw. This is a word you should also learn. Aw. Aw is not part of this lesson, but you should learn. As I told you, I'll tell you some of the words that you should learn from the explanation itself. Aw means or. So you say naam, aw, la. La is no. So what type of question that answer needs to be yes or no in English? Of course, is this, is it? Okay, so this type of question when the answer has to be yes or no. So how would we translate this one? If we say ahada sarirun, we will say is this a bed? As you can see, in English we say this is a bed. Naam. But when we want to make it into question, we have to do some kind of changes, right? We bring the is first, then we say is this a bad, right? We have to do some type of change. In Arabic is extremely simple. You keep your statement stays as it is. You just add the question, the hamzatul istifham, this hamza, and then it becomes a question. Any type of statement you have, whether uh, even in the verb, you just add this. Inshallah, we'll see the examples of the verb later. This hamzatul istifham usage is extremely simple. Okay, just add it to the statement. That statement will become a question. Okay, hada rajulun. This is a man. So now you add hamzatul istifham. Ahada rajulun. It becomes a question. Okay, the example that they gave us here. Oh, so yes, good question. So somebody is asking, what is the meaning of jawabuhu? So jawab, this word, jawab means answer. And answer. Okay, answer. Who means it? So its answer. So when you have this hamzatul istifham, its answer. Okay, inshallah, we will learn this. How do you say kitabuhu, qalamuhu, jawabuhu? We will learn this mudaf, mudaf ilayhi, possessive construction very soon. So he's saying it is a particle. Its answer is naam aw la. It is either yes or no. فهمتم? So now he says هذا رجل. We already studied هذا رجل, and just simply adding hamza, it becomes a simple sentence, a simple question. Naam, and when someone asks you with hamza, just like if someone asks you, is this something? You don't start talking about that thing without answering the question first, right? So you always have to answer the question first by saying naam or la. Then you say naam هذا رجل. You have a example, the title هذا سرير. You say naam هذا سرير. Then you have another example هذا كرسي. Inshallah, you will learn the kursi in the book. It means chair. Okay, is this a chair? He says la. Now he's negating. He says la. No, هذا سرير. I don't know how someone gets confused with the chair and the bed. Maybe it's interesting, but the point is this is how you negate. But interestingly, if in Arabic it is quite difficult. We require a different grammar rules to understand how to say no, this is not a bed. So he's asking, is this a chair? Right? But to say this is not a chair in English, very easy, right? In Arabic, we need to know a little bit something else. That's why the author will not use this type of answer. Okay, the author will not use this type of answer now, maybe in the later. To be honest with you, I think maybe in the book 2 or something, because constructing that requires laisa, which is different types of verb. We need to know a little bit more. So that's why in this situation, in this time, only thing we should be able to say, no, it is not, but then what it is, we can say. Somebody's pointing at a door, is saying, is this I don't know, something, then you say, no, hada babun. Then you explain what it is. فهمتم? So same thing we have, هذا waladun. Is this a boy? You answer, la, hada rajulun. Okay, this is a man. This boy must be looking like a man. Or the man looks like a boy. Naam, Allah al-Mustan. Let's see if you guys have any question or not so far. No, good. So the next topic that the author explains, very good. The pace is good so far, which is man hada. Now we have the who. Man in English, we can translate as who. Okay, so if ma was what, and man would be who. So you say man hada. Now use, we can look into a person and ask about that person. So it is ismu istifham. Same words are coming, guys. Same words are coming. So even if it's not part of your books curriculum, but as you hear them, try to keep your ears open. You don't have to write it down. You can write notes. You don't have to actively try to memorize. But if you're paying attention, inshallah, these words will be very easy in your ears. So this is a noun for questioning. Lil aqil. Here's the words coming again. And this li, inshallah, we'll study them very, very soon in maybe lesson number 3 or 4. I'm not sure. Li here means for. So for intellect, meanings for human being. Bottom line, it means who. So you say man hada. So now you cannot be looking at, this is the other way around. You cannot be looking at object and asking what is this by saying man hada. Now, as he pointed out, you cannot be looking at a book and then say man hada, where the answer is hada kitab. This is not good. Although the sentence structures are good, your grammar is not good. That's what it is. But what you can do is man hada. When you look at some person, then you say hada tabibun. Anybody knows what tabib means? Huh? Nobody? You can just type 2 letters for this. Doctor, naam. Tabib is doctor. And if you don't know, as you know, the book is here. You can find out. Here's a tabib. Here's a doctor. And these words, or most of the words that the author or the in the explanation author, using, these are coming from your actual text vocabularies anyway. So when you go back to the text, inshallah, after finishing this lesson here, we will go back to the text and show you a few things. Now, so here's another example. Man hada, hada waladun. So this is good. You cannot say ma hada here. You cannot say ma. You have to say man, because who? Man hada, then hada qalamun. No, it's not going to work. Here you have to say ma hada, hada qalamun. So man hada talibun. Talib is student, like all of us here. Student. Now, then he says, ahada tabibun. See, hada tabibun. This is the statement. Now you add hamza and you make the statement into a question. Is this a doctor? Naam, hada tabibun. Yes, this is a doctor. Then he says, ahada talibun. Is this a student? The answer is la, hada tabibun. No, this is a doctor. Ahada kalbun. Kalb is what? Dog, right? And the most common mistake with kalb is what? Qalb. What is qalb? Who knows? Hmm. Heart, yes. So he says, Naam, hada kalbun. Then another one is ahada qittun. What is qitt? Anybody knows? Huh? Cat, yes. Are you a kalb person, dog person, or the cat person? This is a big dispute among internet, right? Now, we should be, as a Muslim, we should be a qit person. We should be a cat person. Then he says, La hada kalbun. Okay, so as you know, I just mentioned to you, we haven't learned how to say, no, this is not a cat. We haven't learned how to say that. It's a little bit complicated. So what we can do is uh, we can, we can change into this type of statement. Subhanallah, that concludes our lesson number one. So as you can see in lesson number one, the author touched on some few interesting things, and these tools are so powerful because now you can really construct sentences and use, just by plugging in many different vocabs, you can construct many different sentences. Now, so now I will show you a little bit about the book. Now, as I mentioned to you in this lecture, we will not be going through the book. I'll just quickly run down and see if anything is there, and then something that you have to do yourself, and you have to try to use the translation or the vocabulary PDF that you have if you're stuck with some words, and then try your best. And in the lab class, if you have a question, you can bring them. So again, ad-darsul awwal, see the hada, same thing. And now it's just matter of knowing these words, and you can plug hada and then use the word and you can construct sentence. This is a masjid. You say hada masjidun, and this is a masjid, simple stuff. And in the beginning, they will give you a picture and the word. So you already know what hada means. So you know that this miftah, this picture is going with the miftah. So that now you know how to say a key because it's giving a picture and it's giving a word. So key is miftah. So this one looks like a desk. So you already know hada. So it cannot be hada. It has to be this word, whatever this word is, which is maktab. So in Arabic we say maktab for desk and desk for maktab and sarir. Hakada. Okay, so go through this one, very simple. Then now here we have ma hada. So you say ma hada, hada baytun, hada baytun, na'am, hada baytun. Very, very simple thing. So you look into the picture and then you go based on this picture and do these exercises. Na'am. So qamis here it means shirt. Najm is star. Okay. And then you'll see this word coming a lot. Tamreen. Tamreen means exercise. Exercise. Subhanallah, my spelling. Just ignore my spelling. Exercise. So this is a first exercise. So what they want you to do is you have ma hada based on this picture. You're supposed to make this whole pattern. Okay, so you have a picture of a key. So you say ma hada, you say hada miftahun, ahada miftahun, naam hada miftahun. Very simple things. Don't, if this is the first time you're doing these books, do not skip them, guys. Do not skip them. If it's a review for you, okay, you've done it before. You don't have to go through everything. You are here just to review the grammar. That is fine. But if it's something new, please don't skip them. Doesn't matter how silly it may sound to you. Okay, your mind may understand, but it might not be practical if you're not doing exercises. Okay, so you do the same thing with book and rest of the pictures. We have a tamreen number 2, second exercise. You look into the picture. هذا بيت. Whether it's bait or not, you say لا هذا مسجد, right? This is a masjid, and you can do the name, same thing. Now, you might be confused, like why they're using hada here, although it is star. Shouldn't it be, far things? We should say that. Well, think about this star is on piece of paper, Maybe he's not talking about actual star, which is on the sky. Maybe he's looking at a shape in front of you, and he's asking about that shape. Huh? So, think about like this for now. Then the third tamreen is Iqra waktub. Iqra means read, and uktub means to write. Okay, it is a command verb, read and write. Extremely important. And this is here another beautiful thing about this book, which is the book will slowly try to remove the haraka for you so that you can read without the haraka. This is a technique extremely important. Okay, I'm not sure if we have to, in the from the first lesson we have to build that technique, but somehow we have to get used to it. Which Baina Yadek book lacks. Baina Yadek book, as far as I know, it puts haraka throughout the entire series. Even in book 4, advanced books, they would put haraka. Some, it will remove some of it, but most of the haraka will be there. But honestly, you should be building the technique not to rely on haraka all the time. So then how do you do it? How is book is trying to push you to this? First, you have to see this word. The book already introduced this word for you. Where was this word? Maktab. And when he introduced the word, he gave you all the haraka. Okay? Now this word becomes a shape for you. The Chinese language, it has like, I don't know, thousands of letters or something, because these are shape. You recognize them based on the shape. So now it becomes a shape for you. So then since you have learned that word, of course you have to learn that word. Now you see something similar, and then the context comes, because there's no other word that looks like this, only word that looks like that. So you say maktab. But when you're writing it, make sure you do put all the haraka. Okay, هذا مكتبون. So how did you get the maktabun here? Because I told you the default, you always end with tanween of dhamma. Okay, so that's how you do this exercise. Extremely important. First, try to read, see if you can read without the haraka. Hada, how do you read it? Musjid, masjid, misjid. You have to know, right? You have to know. So, this is a masjid. So you read it like this, and then you put haraka. هذا مسجد. It is very important techniques, guys. But in the beginning, for some of you, might be a little bit difficult. But I still think you should do them. Okay, and then the next exercise we have man hada. So you have same thing. I'm not going to spend too much time. Only difference is, as we mentioned to you, the man is who. So we will be using for the human beings. Tabib, doctor, walad, okay, rajul, okay, talib. We have used all of these words in the explanation. Okay, so these are very simple, nothing important, just new words. Himar is donkey. Okay, hisan is horse. Jamal is camel. Simple things, very simple. And then mahada dik would be rooster. Okay, so mudarris is a teacher. Okay, and then mindil is napkin or tissue. So if you don't know the word, just just use this thing. Just go back here and find them, because honestly, I don't want to spend too much time here. But at the same time, I also want to quickly go through them so that you guys are stay connected with the actual book. Now, so now we have another Iqra Waktub, same thing, read and write, and this would be you do the same thing. Ma hada qalamun. Then you write qalamun. Okay, you'll learn soon. I will explain to you that if you have alif, the letter before alif will always get a fatha. So there's no point of writing fatha. You can write it, not a problem. But if you have alif, the letter before it always gets a fatha. Maybe one exception when it comes, I'll show you. As far as I know, only there's one letter, which is the alternate spelling of mi'a, 100. So same thing here. You have alif. Alif. There's no point of putting fatha here. It's very easy to pronounce because before alif you have to have a fatha. Now, so do them. I don't think they're complicated. Inshallah, you'll do just fine. Now, so now we move to what? We stop? No, we don't stop. We go to the next lesson. We go to the next lesson. You guys have any question? Honestly, I'm not sure about the pace right now. I was expecting to finish at least 4 lessons. Let's see what we can do. Now, so the second lesson, ad-darsu thani. So dars is the lesson, thani is the second. Inshallah, we'll learn about them later. This lesson is quite easy. Actually, it is very easy because what's happening is that it's whatever we learn this. Now we will learn how to say that. All the rules will be the same. So dhalika is that. We learned hada is what am I writing? Hada is this. By the way, did I mention to you, subhanallah, you know, this hada, there's a hidden alif. So you have to prolong the ha. You don't say hada, you have to say hada. I'm pretty sure, same thing here. Dhalika, there's a hidden alif. Original word was hadha, like this. Okay, and original word was like this, but in the written convention, we don't do that. So we need to prolong these words. Dhalika, not dhalika, dhalika. So dhalika is that. So as you can see that everything will be similar. Only difference would be what? Remember the word that I told you to memorize? Qareeb. Huh? Qareeb. Who remembers what qareeb means? Huh? Al-qareeb. Near. Naam. Qareeb is near. The only thing you will see, the new word is ba'id. Ba'id is far. Okay, everything is same. ذلك اسم إشارة demonstrative pronoun للمفرد for singular المذكر for masculine البعيد if you recall previously it says القريب now it's saying البعيد العاقل وغير عاقل everything else is same except for this word. So the rules are the same. So now only thing we know, same rules apply. We cannot say ذلك for feminine, and we can't say ذلك for plural, just like we don't say that for the plural, we say those for the plural, these for near, and those for far. Same thing here. So only difference is that it is for far. And only difference with the English, that is the word mudhakkar, which is a masculine. Okay, it was almost identical to English, except for the fact that we can only use dhalika for masculine. How do you say for feminine? Trust me, the book will not hang you here. They will teach you. We say tilka. So now we don't have to spend so much time here. So here are some examples. Al-aqil, we say dhalika rajulun, same situation. We could have said hada rajulun, we could have said that from the grammatical perspective, everything is same. But if we did, it would have been this is a man. But when you say dhalika rajulun, that is a man. Dhalika mudarrisun, that is a teacher. Dhalika talibun, that is a student. Now he's showing you from the non intellect, meaning objects, not human being. Here it makes sense, right? Now we say Dhalika najmun. Now here the context, probably we're looking to the skies and pointing, and we're saying Dhalika najmun. That is a star. Baytun, house. Hisan is horse. What we learn from the book. So same thing, exactly same situation. You say man hada wa man dhalika. We learned already man hada. So man is for intellect, aqil, okay? And we will learn the ma is for non-intellect, hada for near, dhalika for far. Everything is same, guys. I don't think we have to spend too much time, but we will read. It says man hada. Here it says su'al. سؤال عن القريب العاقل. What is سؤال? سؤال is the opposite of what someone asking. What is it? جواب means. جواب. جواب is answer. Answer. سؤال is question. Okay, سؤال is question. So he's saying the man هذا, this is a question عن, about, we'll learn about عن soon. قريب is a question about something that is near. العاقل. So he's man for question about near, and it has to be what? Intellect. But we use man dhalika for su'al, and ba'id for far, also for aqil. Okay, that makes sense. So I think this word su'al, I would expect you to know. Okay, or at least get used to it. If you don't want to memorize, you should memorize su'al. This word is very common as well. So man hada mudir. What is mudir? Huh? Anybody knows what mudir means? Mudir can mean many different things based on context. It could mean a director, it can mean supervisor, okay, someone who is in supervising something, Manager, yes, manager will work, no problem. Then we say man hada imam. So okay, imam, we already know imam who leads the prayer, or imam can also be in bigger context. Then we have man dhalika mudarris, dhalika talibun. We have done it. Now we have ma hada wa ma dhalika. Same thing, only difference is that we are we learn how to say dhalika. Okay? So here he says su'al. See the same word. Question an, about al-qarib ghayr aqil. Qarib ghayr aqil. Something near, non-intellect. For example, hada hajarun. What is hajar? Anybody knows what hajar means? Hmm? Stone. Yes, good. Stone, rock. I suppose both of them will work. Stone, rock. So as you can see, this is not intellect. ما هذا حمار. So as you can see, حمار is animal, but we still don't, because we mentioned that it has to do with intellect. I mean, animal has intellect, but when we say عاقل, the intellect that we're talking about is cognitive intellect, where we can think for ourselves. Okay, so for example, that would include human being, that would also include angels, that would also include jinns. Okay, so we're talking about that type of intellect. Okay, we're not saying that animal doesn't have intellect, but we're talking about that independent intellect, that type of intellect. So himar is donkey, so we say ma, we don't say man. فهمتم? So that's why in the beginning, if you just think about human being, akil means human being, it makes life much more easier. Then it says ما ذلك سؤال عن بعيد. البعيد غير عاقل. So it is for far, non-intellect. We have laban. Who knows what laban means? Huh? Yogurt. Yeah, so laban, interesting, you said yogurt. Uh, milk. Okay, so subhanAllah, I got both of the answer that I was looking for. So I have both laban, yogurt, and milk. So what's going on here? Uh, The laban, the classical meaning is milk. Original classical meaning is milk. But in the modern context, we use laban for mostly like yogurt or different type of yogurt drink. Okay, so this is, if you go to Arab countries, they will use laban for that type of meaning. So what do they use for milk in the modern context? Anybody knows? Hmm? It is halib. Halib. So there, yes, ahsant. Very good. Halib. So qit we already know. So you see, it's very simple thing, extremely simple. So this lesson was pretty pretty simple stuff because we already learned all the grammar rules. Only thing we changed from this to that. So now quickly pick at the original textbook. As you can see, this chapter is also not big, only 2 pages. Okay, so it's talking about ad-dars athani, second lesson. We have dhalika. Okay, ma dhalika, what is this? So we have gone through everything. There's nothing new going on. Maybe one word, wa. He used wa. Wa is and. Okay, wa is and is a very important word to know. So you can, with this wa, we can add many different sentences together. You know, dhalika najmun, wa dhalika baytun, wa dhalika masjidun, wa, and you can add many different sentences. But one thing to note, I see lots of people make this mistake. Okay, a lot of people don't know. Wa can never stand independently. Wa has to always be connected to the next word. So you cannot say, for example, you say, let's say you say baytun, you want to say bayt and masjid, okay? And masjid, masjid. But you want to say wa and. Lot of people do this one. Baytun wa masjidun. Because, we're coming from English, house, and there's a separation here, and masjid, mosque. But in Arabic, that's not how we write wow. Wow has to be connected right here, right here. There's no way out. And if you have to go to the next page, for example, there's no space, you cannot leave wow here and then write masjid like this. No, you have to bring the wow and put it here as well. Fahmtum? It's a mistake that I see way too often, but very easy to fix it. As you can see right here, هذا حصان وذلك حمار. As you can see, the wow is connected to the next word. And now, as you can see, you can add compound sentences, so to speak, or more than one sentences just by adding wow. So it's something nice. Nothing else here. Another thing is this issue with comma here. It might be important sometimes. You need to, even in speaking, you need to have this pause. If someone is asking you something, then you have to say la, no, then you say whatever you need to say. So this is something thing to keep in mind. Naam, anything else? Okay, so next page we have the same thing as before, but we have the practice with dhalika. I think there's nothing for me to do. Sukkar is sweet. If you don't know, you have the dictionary. And please do not ignore any of these exercises, especially these ones, Ikra Waktub. Do read them loudly. You have to read them loudly, okay, so to get that fluency in your tongue. It will, I can guarantee you that you can read this one in your mind and understand every single thing here. But if you don't say it loudly, just try saying it loudly one time, you will see you're struggling. Okay, so do read them loudly, and then after doing it, then you put haraka. Now look at this one. How do I put haraka? This is looks strange. It could be sarika, surika. It could be so many different words. How do you know? The book already taught you this word. So if you skip the book, you will not know. It told you one of the way to spell this word when you have these 3 letters. Trust me, there's other way to spell. But this context, this is the word that you found, sukkar. So now when you see this word, read it, hada sukkar, because that's the word you know. Okay, hada sukkarun. Now, so follow this one through, inshallah. It will be easy. And then oftentimes, the primary book will give you something called al-kalimatul jadida. Okay, al-kalimat is a plural for kalima, words. Words, jadida is new, so new words. So it will often time give you some. There are other new words that introduced in this book, but sometimes the author feels like these are the words you really need to know. Okay, so if you have something like that, you really, really need to know them. Okay, but I want you to know more than what it's here, because there are other words that I'm explaining to you. But at least make sure at bare minimum you know these words. فهمتم? So imam, you know what imam means. Hajar, we talked about. Sukkar, laban, you should know them. And if you don't know these words, you will find them here guaranteed, inshallah. Okay, here's hajar, stone, laban, milk. Okay, what was imam, leader, sukkar. Okay, so all of these words are here. So make sure you have all these books side by side. You know, if anybody studied with me before, you know how I feel about PDF. I don't feel good about PDF. Even if you cannot purchase the book, my first go-to advice is, please, if you're serious about learning knowledge, look through the history, look at anybody's biography, how much money there is to spend on buying books. Don't be cheap on these things. If you have the mean and if you have the access, some books you probably don't have, or sometimes you probably don't have the money. That's a different story. But you don't mind spending money on other things, but when it comes to book, you feel this is unfortunate. In our heart, we feel like, it's Islamic book. Why should we pay? We should just get PDF. No, it's really bad manner. It's really not good way of thinking. You should be trying to get the book, and then your book should show your entire world that how much you studied. How? By the notes around the book. You have a sticky here, you have a writing there, you have this and that. That's how student of knowledge learns book. Now, if the book is not there, for example, this chart, if it's not there, it's a PDF, print them out. Print it out and bind it and then use it. Many different ways to do that. Okay. Even this PDF, believe it or not, I have it bind in my right here. You can hear the sound. Okay, so I have some notes here. Sometimes once in a while, I might have to go back to my notes and then explain. So do that, okay? Now, where are we? So we're done with lesson number 2. Very good. Where are we? So we'll start with الدرس الثالث, lesson number 3. Any questions so far? Now, so let's continue. So we have الدرس الثالث. So we're starting with the third lesson. And this is going to be interesting. So in this lesson, we start with the concept. The author will introduce something here. It's written al. Uh, in English, we can translate this one as, I'll just put equal sign for now, the. So the article. So definite article, the. So al would be the same thing as the definite article, the in English. And what the sharh it explained, Musannif here, he said, al harfu ta'rif. So this harf, I don't know if I mentioned to you last time, the harf also has two meanings. One standard meaning. Who knows what does the harf means when you hear it without, just main primary meaning of harf? Huh? Anybody knows? What does harf means? Letter, ahsant. So ahsant. So good. I have letters, ahsantum. So letter, this is the standard meaning. When you say harf, it means letter, like alphabet A, B, C, alibata. So this is harf, huruf. But the harf in technical, in the grammatical, it means particle. And what does particle means? Particle means here, now I'm going to explain a little bit about what harf means, because we have a harf here. So maybe I will explain. And the same situation when we talked about ism, linguistically it means name, somebody's name, but here technically in the grammatical perspective it meant noun, right? So the harf is the same situation. So the particle is a term that we use in English. Honestly, it's not, we don't have exact good translation, but the particle is something that is the closest. You can think about small words, small helping words that we use. For example, um, like and, or, uh, are preposition considered particles in English? I'm not sure in, on, but in Arabic, let me just explain to you from Arabic perspective, that would be easier. In Arabic is the similar concept, is a small letters, small words that does not convey the meaning by itself, but it is used in with the nouns or the verb. We use this, the small words with the other things. So for example here, the, and then we had hamza to istifham. Okay, so hamza, if you just look at the hamza by itself, you don't know what to do with this. Okay, just I know it's a question, but what's going on? Question about what? You have no clue. So the word does not give you a primary meaning or any meaningful meaning that you can use from the context. But once we add it, then we say ahada. Okay, we say ahada baitun, then we know what this hamza is doing. So this is what particle means. And you will see, inshallah, we'll talk about this in Arabic. We have three types of words. We have ism, which is a noun, adjective, and everything. So it's a broad term. And then we have fi'l, which is a verb. And then we have harf, which is a particles. This is not the topic right now. Inshallah, we will learn them very soon. So this is what we mean by harf. Just think about particles for now, small words, small helping words. So this is a helping word, particle, and it says ta'rif. Now the ta'rif also has different meanings. Sometimes the word that is very common, I might give you both meanings. The meaning that we use other contexts like linguistically, and I might also have to explain what it means here. It might be too much for you. I'm not sure based on the book and lesson. But anyway, whatever you can understand. Tarif linguistically, it means definition. Definition. Okay, so for example, you say, what is the definition of this? Ma ta'rifuhu. What is its definition? You want to define something. But yes, excellent, very good. Somebody wrote. But here it means definiteness. The definiteness. Okay, definiteness meaning something when we make it into a definite by alif, lam, or sorry, the article. Okay, so here it's talking about this type of definiteness. It's not talking about definition, although if you define something, it becomes a definite. You know what you're talking about, but here it means the letter or the particle of making something into a definite. Just think about the article the. Okay, very simple. We don't have to make too complicated here. So now what we have here, remember when we say baitun, every time we translated a noun, we say a. Baitun is a house. We said what? We said a house. When you say qalamun, okay, qalamun, we said a pen, right? Because these are indefinite. But here, once we add alif lam, this particle here, a pen, if in English, if we want to say the pen, we say the pen. So a pen, we already know is qalamun. You might be thinking, okay, qalamun, if the means alif lam, so what should we do? We just write al qalamun. Yes? So al is the, qalam is pen, everything seems fine. Yes, you're fine, but we have to adjust a few things, okay? Number one rule is that alif lam, this particle, cannot stand by itself. It is a connected particle. It needs to be connected with the word. So you cannot leave al hanging in the middle. Although we can do this in English with the, but in Arabic, we have to connect. So this is the first thing. First thing is that we have to connect these two. So how do you connect? Very simple. You have to know how to write Arabic. Al qalam. So you see, the qalam was separately. Now we added al. Very simple. And the second rule, inshallah, now this is the first time that we will talk about a little bit of grammar rule, what happens to the end. Okay. The second rule of this thing, the author will mention everything, but I'm just giving you a little bit of explanation before. Second rule is that we have to remove this tanween. Okay, we have to remove this tanween. Al qalamu ahsant. Very good. You already removed uh removed what? The tanween. So when we say remove tanween, be careful what we mean. We mean remove one of the haraka that we had. We had, what is the haraka here, by the way? If someone to ask you, what is the haraka on the top of meme, what would you say? Hmm? What is the haraka? Yes, but what is the haraka? Dhamma. Yes, just Dhamma. The haraka is the Dhamma. We only have three haraka. We have fatha, we have Dhamma, and we have kasra. These are the only haraka we have. Yes? But then what about sukun? Hmm? What is sukun? Is sukun haraka? Why am I saying there's only three haraka? What happened to sukun? Yes, so if you know, sukun is not haraka. So what does sukun mean? Huh? Not quite connection. So what does sukun mean? Rest. Sukun means absence of haraka. Sukun simply saying is that I don't have any vowel. I don't have any, there's nothing, no movement. Because I always explain to you that vowel makes the sound move. So you have B, then the vowel will make the B, it will move the sound, boo, ba. So you see, it's moving the sound. But if you stop here, let's say ab, you're not moving the B sound. You just stopped on the B, ab. So same thing with the sukun. Sukun means you stop at the sound, you don't move the sound. That's why it's called haraka. What does haraka means? Huh? You guys are learning a lot of word, haraka. Anybody knows what haraka means? You always hear the word haraka, haraka. Movement, ahsanti. So it is movement. Haraka is a movement. So that means these sound fatha, dhamma, kasra, it moves the sound. They're vowels. Vowel moves the consonant, right? And when you have sukun, that means you don't have you don't have any haraka here, no movement. So when you say what is the haraka here, the answer, correct answer is actually a dhamma. This is the haraka. But of course, you can say dhammatain. That's not a problem. Dhammatain is also right answer, not a problem. But what you have to know is that when you have a two of these, that's when we call it tanween. Tanween. So this would be tanween of fatha. This would be tanween of dhamma. Would be tanween of kasra. So you can say fathatan or fathatain, dhammatain, kasratain. So now when we say to move, to remove the tanween, do we say change the haraka? Is that the same thing as changing haraka? No, we're not saying changing haraka. We're saying the remove the tanween. That means don't change my dhamma. Leave the dhamma alone. Just remove one of the haraka. Okay, so a lot of people, because these terms I'm going to be using a lot, so I just wanted to make sure everybody is on the same page. So when I say remove the tanween, I mean remove one of them. Don't change the haraka. This haraka changing will, it's extremely crucial that you don't change the haraka without knowing. The ending is the grammar. It can make the entire meaning difference. Okay, it can make entire things into a different meaning, and you will learn them soon. So that's what this is the first time we understand the ending, the grammar rules. Okay, so in the beginning we mentioned to you that everything has to be tanween of dhamma, qalamun, kitabun, baitun, okay, waladun. But now we know that if we are adding alif lam, the particle of definiteness, harfu ta'rif, then we have to, first of all, alif lam has to be connected with the word, and then we also have to remove the tanween. And now let's read what the author is saying here. So he shows us baytun and he says al baytu. Look what happened. Okay, so it is al plus bayt, and then we combine al baytu. Now then he gives you more example. Masjidun, masjidun, right? Al masjidu. So we have to know the rule. Qalamun, al qalamu. Okay, so this is a silly mistake at this point. If you don't know, I'm pretty sure some of you are probably aware of these things, but alif lam and tanween, they never coexist in the same word. So now he's saying yah or yuhzafu at-tanweenu inda dukhuli al. What is he saying? Yuhzafu. It is a passive verb. It is removed. What is removed? Tanween. Tanween is removed or deleted inda at dukhuli al, at the entrance or when you add alif lam. So if you have a tanween, when you add dukhul, when you add alif lam, يحذف تنوين. Tanween is removed. فهمتم؟ Now he's going to show you some examples. Al-qalamu maksurun. See, al-qalamu maksurun. So why we're not saying qalamun? We learned the word qalamun all this time because we have alif lam al. So it's al-qalamu. But here we're saying maksurun with tanwin because we don't have any alif lam. Okay? So he's showing you you cannot say al-qalamu. You cannot say al-qalamu because you have alif lam. Okay, very bad. Same thing we have al-babu maftuhun. I'll tell you the meanings in a while. But before we do that, let's focus on the grammar for now. Okay? So he says al-babu, this is good. Alif lam, no tanwin, checks out. Maftuhun, tanwin, because there's no alif lam, checks out. Very good. But what about this one? Huh? What's wrong? Why is he complaining here that this is not good? Hmm? Because remember, goes back to that's why you always start with a default case. Your life will be very easy when you start with the default. I told you the default is the noun should always have a tanween of dhamma. Yes, there's no tanween, so it should have tanween of dhamma. Trust me, we will remove you will see the column just like that very soon, but it has to be a reason. Right now we have no context, we have no reason, so you cannot say we cannot just say qalamu and then stop. You have to say qalamun. Believe it or not, if you say qalamu and stop, a speaker who understands the language, he's waiting for you to say something. Because when you say qalamu, very soon we'll learn we are in the beginning of creating a possessive phrase. Pan off. If you say qalamu, you're just saying pan off. You're not saying pan off who. So people will get confused. Okay, so inshallah we'll learn this one later. But the point what we need to know here, by default, the word itself is qalamun. Now, if you stop here, say qalam, that's fine. You're stopping, you know, for example, here you say al-babu maftuh. When you stop, in your mind, you put a sukun here. That's fine, right? But when you have to pronounce, then you have to say maftuhun. Uh, Naam, every word has a ahsantum. Now, so then he said al-waladu jalisun. And here he's saying you cannot say al-waladun because we learned waladun. Now, if you remove this walad from here, you want to remove instead of saying the boy, you want to say boy, then guess what? You have to put back your tanween. Okay? But once you have alif lam, you cannot do so. Al-waladun jalisun, no good. Al-waladu jalisun. Now, a few things I want to mention here. This probably would be the last lesson for today. Let's see. A few things I want to mention here is uh, I'll come back to here, okay? Because we haven't translated. I can translate it for you. I can translate for you because you know what qalam means. You know al-qalam means. Al-qalam means the pen, and maksur. Maybe you haven't learned what maksur means. Maksur means, anybody knows what broken? Yes, maksur means broken. So now, if you have a word that says the pen, another word is broken, and you know this is a sentence. This is a book is teaching you proper sentence. So how would you translate this? Only thing you have the pen, and you have broken. Yes, so you have to plug it is. So the meaning would be the pen is broken. Okay, same thing. You have al-babu maftuhun. So maftu is open, right? Maftu is open. So how would you translate? You have al-bab, the door. Then you have open. What do I do? What do I do? Okay, this is how we write in English, Arabic. So you have to figure out how to say it in English. So English, we have to say the door is open. So same thing here. Al-waladu means the boy, and jalisun. Jalisun is, anybody knows what jalisun is? Hmm? Somebody should know. It's opposite, sitting. Jalisun is sitting. Okay? Qa'imun is standing. So now you say what? The boy is sitting. Makes sense? And inshallah, we will talk a little bit about what's going on. How do we know how to make construct sentence? I will mention to you. First, I want to finish this explanation here. So now the author is going to talk about very, very important concept in Arabic language. With this, without this knowing this concept, wallah, you cannot even make a single sentence. You won't be able to make a single adjective phrase. You won't be able to do anything. So you have to know this concept uh, well. It's not super complicated at this point, but you have to know what it means. So he's using the terms an-nakira and al-ma'rifa. These terms in Arabic, if you know them, mumtaz, very good. But if you don't know, I'll tell you the meaning. So it's fine. A nakira means indefinite. Indefinite. A nakira is indefinite. Maybe I should change the color. Indefinite. We don't do in English. Do we say the indefinite? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But technically, it should be the because we have alif lam, the one that we just learned, right? And al-ma'rifa is definite. So this concept in every language is very important. We have definite and indefinite. For example, a man, the man, door, the door. We have to know these things. And we also have to know, inshallah, let me see if he mentioned here or not. Later we'll know what are the words are definite. For example, name of a person. Okay, name of a person. Is it indefinite or definite? We'll learn them later. I'm just using making you guys think a little bit. Name of person. Did you say is indefinite or definite? Muhammad. Somebody's name is Muhammad. It is a definite. This word, definite or indefinite? Yes, it's definite. So the name of a person is definite. We don't have to add the. We don't say the Muhammad. The word Muhammad itself is a definite. Okay. And just to play with your mind a little bit here, if I say hada, what do you think about this word? Do you think this is a definite word or indefinite? First of all, what does definite mean? Let's read this one through. Okay, I'll come back to this question. Keep in mind, I'll come back to this question. So he's explaining. So let's see what he's talking about first. He says an-nakira, it is shay'un. Shay'un, very important word. Thing, a thing. You have to know this word, shay. It is a thing غير. See this word, how many times is coming? غير معين. It is a thing that is not معين, is specific. You don't have to know honestly, so I'm not going to write here. So it is. So he's saying النكرة is شيء غير معين. معين. So it is not. It is a thing that is not specific, non-specific. So you can translate this one as a non-specific. Okay, I told you the غير means none, or it can also means not. No, not. It doesn't matter, right? So it is something that is not specific. Nahu, nahu here means not grammar. Nahu here means example. Okay, same thing as mithal. Okay, mithal. Baytun. So when you say baytun, a house, we have no idea what house you're talking about. You just say, I saw a house. Okay, very good. Which one? We have no idea. Good for you. So we have no understanding what house you're talking about. So it is غير معين. It is not any specific. Qalam, you just say qalam, a pen. Okay, what pen? We have no clue. So this is what he means. It's indefinite. Rajulun, a man. Bintun. What is bint? Girl, or it can also be a daughter. By the way, walad also is a boy. It can also be son. Okay, it can be a boy. It can also be son. Make sense? Bint can be girl and also daughter. So that's what he's defining. Nakira shay'un ghayru mu'ayyan. It is a thing that is not specific. Then what about ma'rifa? Yes, ambiguous. So something that you don't know what it is. It could be anything. And ma'rifa, he says shay'un mu'ayyan. So he just removed the word ghayr from here. So he says shay'un mu'ayyan. So this is a specific, something that is specific. Nahu, an example, al-baytu, the house. Now, you know, if somebody just randomly say al-bayt, maybe you don't know. You know that he's talking, whether you understand or not, but he himself, the speaker, he is talking about a specific house for sure. Maybe, for example, he says, I saw the house. Maybe you're not sure which house you're talking about. You may ask which house, but that's you're trying to clarify. But from his perspective, the speaker mutakallim, he knows what he's talking about. He knows a very specific house he's referring to. Okay, and sometimes this specificity can come from the context. For example, you're in the classroom, right? A teacher is late, then you're saying the teacher is late. Everybody knows you're talking about this class teacher. Okay, so the specificity can come in many different ways, but nonetheless, the speaker, they should be sure what they're talking about. So this is talking about a specific house, one very specific house. Al-qalamu, same thing. Al-rajul, al-bint. فهمتم? So that's what the ma'rifa does. And he explains further. He says, baytun yashmalu kulla buyut. Okay, yashmalu means it includes kulla. This is what you might, if I'm writing translation, especially for something from the sharh, which is not part of the text, the book, then you should memorize. Kul means all. In context, it can also mean every, but for now, focus on all. Okay, all. So he's saying yashmalu kulla al-buyut. Kulla al-buyut. Buyut is a plural of bayt. We'll learn it. Don't worry about it. We'll learn the buyut very soon. It is houses, plural. I don't know why sometimes happens. I have to just change the tab, come back. Now it's gonna work. Now it is plural, houses. So he's saying it includes, when he say baytun, it includes every houses in the world, because you don't know it. You're just talking about one of the house. So you are not being specific. It could be any house in the world, right? وَلَيْسَ بَيْتًا مُعَيَّنًا. Okay, it is. Here's subhanallah. Remember, I was talking about how do you negate a nominative sentence? How do you negate that this is not something? This is the way you use Laisa. Inshallah, we're not going to use it. You don't have to know anything, but that's how we say this is something is not. Or this is not a house. So he's saying walaysa means it is not baytan muayyanan. So it is not a specific house. So when somebody says baytun, you don't know which house he's talking about. It includes every houses. Okay. Then he says al-baytu yadullu ala. This is another term you will be hearing way too much. So don't worry about it if you don't know, but you'll hear it a lot. Yadullu ala means indicates. Indicates. It indicates. So al-baytu, it indicates baytin muayyanin. Okay, so it indicates a specific. He removes what? He removes the word laysa. So it does indicate a specific. Muayyanin, it a specific house. Bidhatihi. Now, bidhatihi is a very technical way of saying it, but it means a lot of things. Bidhatihi, if by itself, it means that bidhatihi would means by itself. It would mean itself. But here, honestly, when somebody says something like that in Arabic language, when you say baitin muayyanin bidhatihi, this is actually just emphasizing this word muayyan, meaning it is a specific house. That's all it means. Okay, don't worry about this thing. It's a little bit advanced. But bottom line, what he's trying to say here is that al-baytu, it indicates a specific house in itself. Okay, that's what his explanation is. So you understand? So now if you know this concept, now I want to go back to this word. Uh, if nakira means something that is not specific and ma'rifa means something specific, when we use the word hada, what do you think? When you say hada, are you talking about something specific or not specific? What do you think? Something specific, yes. By definition, the definition of hada is that you're pointing at something. So if somebody points at something, this has to be the most specific thing ever, right? Because it's right in front of you and you're pointing at this thing. So how can you be confused? What are you talking about? I'm talking about hada, I'm talking about this. So this is definite. Okay, this is definite. And oftentimes I will use the letter D to indicate definite. And we talked about Muhammad, right? If we talk about I saw Muhammad, right? You know, uh, what am I writing? Muhammad, Muhammadun, right? You know that Muhammad, he's a person that you know. So this would, what do you think about this one now? Is it a definite or indefinite? D or I? Huh? D or I? Is D, yes. Ahsan. So, but now if I say walad, waladun, a boy, it is a D or I? I indefinite. So very good. So if you understand these things, trust me, this will be extremely important. Just even if I want to explain to you what's going on here, I'll just quickly mention it. But inshallah, these things will be coming very soon. The simple way we construct a sentence in Arabic, a simple way we construct a sentence in Arabic is we use first a definite noun and then second indefinite. But the problem is, when I write like this, it's not what I mean. But in English, we write the other way around. So this is a problem for people to understand. I mean, if we're writing in English, we should follow this direction. So I will probably write D plus I. Anytime you have, not anytime, but majority of the time, and this is the assault, this is the default. Okay, there will be exception. We'll talk about exception. But by default, when you have a definite noun and then indefinite noun, this is how you know that this is a sentence. And this is how you know to put is. So now if you go back to the first example that we had, هذا kitabun. Now you know why we decided to make it into a sentence. Because how did we know it is a sentence? Because hada was definite and kitab was indefinite. So the Arab speakers, as we learn, as soon as we see this type of break, we will know that this is a sentence. So that's why when you have al waladu, here we had al waladu, what we had it here, al waladu. So is al walad definite or indefinite? D or I? Huh? Al waladu is D. That's what we learned. By adding alif lam, it becomes D, right? So definite. So we have a definite and jalisun, definite or indefinite? Hmm? Indefinite. So what do we have? We have a sentence. So now we say al waladu jalisun means the boy is sitting. What's gonna happen if we say al waladu al jalisu? We'll learn them later. So we don't want to go too much, but at least if you understand this much, even if you don't understand, don't worry, this thing will come later. But something, inshallah, will be useful if you understand this concept from the beginning. Now, the book will talk about something that we'll not spend so much time, but it's something I have a feeling all of you probably know, which is the concept of al-huruf al-qamariya and al-huruf al-shamsiya. So these are the letters of qamariya, the sun letters and the moon letters. I think you are familiar with. What it means, he will explain to you here. He says al-huruf al-qamariya. By the way, this is also what the main book explained. So the Sharh, he will not introduce anything new if the book did not talk about in this particular chapter. Okay. So the book also mentioned, so he's also talking about this. Al-Huruf al-Qamariya, he says, Yuntaqu as-sukun ala lam. Yuntaqu. It is a passive form, means it is pronounced. Pronounced as sukun. What is pronounced as sukun? The sukun is pronounced ala lam. So what he means is that it has to do with alif lam, the particle alif lam. You had qamar, right? What? You had what? You had qamar, qamarun. When you add alif lam, the question is, when I add alif lam, do I pronounce the lam or not? That is the main issue we're dealing with. If it is a letter of the qamar, yes, we do pronounce the lam. That's what he's saying. So qamar, al-huruf al-qamariya, yuntaqu as-sukun ala lam. So we do pronounce the lam. So we put a sukun. So we say al. We don't say qamar. We say al-qamar. Whereas al-huruf al-shamsiya, la yuntaqu as-sukuna ala lam is just adding the la. So you already know what la means, huh? What does la mean? Huh? La means no. So as you can see, now we all also learned something that la we can be using with the verbs as well. So lam is no. So we don't pronounce the lam. What do we do? وتوضع شدة على الحرف الذي بعده. توضع means to put. It is been put. It is also passive form. Put a shadda. So what do? We put a shadda على الحرف on the letter الذي which بعده, which is after it. So here's the example. In the qamar we said uh, al qamar. So we did put the sukun on the lam and we did pronounce the lam. But here with the shams letter, we completely ignore lam. We directly go to the next letter and we put a shadda. We say ash-shams. We don't say al-shams. Okay, something that I'm pretty sure you guys know, but I'm just trying not to skip anything what the book is explaining. Okay, so this is something that he gave us all the letters that considered huruf. By the way, huruf, what is huruf? Huruf is the plural of harf. Okay, here, okay, let me ask you a question. What is the meaning of harf here? Hmm? Which meaning of the harf? We learned that there's two meanings of the harf, letter and particle. What is the meaning of the harf here? Letter, very good. So here we're talking about the letter. We're not talking about the particles. We're literally talking about this letter. Shin is a letter, mim is a letter. Okay, so that's what he's talking about here. So here are the letters that considered huruf al-qamariya, which is hamza, ba, jim, ha. So something that you have to know. Wallahi, I don't even know them, but I just know how to pronounce. I don't think I can tell you exactly all the letters that are some Shamsiya or Kamariya. But when the word comes, I know whether I should be putting a lam, sukun on the lam or shut down the next letter. It's something that I think you pick up. But what I'll do is that if there's any, these are very important vocabs. All of these words you have to know. All of these words you have to know. So let me just quickly give you the meaning, uh, perhaps. I have a feeling all these words are already in the book. Anyway, al-ab is the father. I'm not going to say the all the time. I'll just tell you what it means. You have al-bab is bab is door. We have already al-jannah. Jannah can be garden. It can also be jannah, the jannah, heaven. Okay, so it could be garden or the heaven based on the context. Himar, what is himar? Donkey. Khubz, anybody knows what khubz means? Let's see your vocab skills. So get your fingers ready. Type as fast as you can. Khubz, bread. Yes, khubz is bread. Ain, what does ain means? Huh? Ain has a lot of different meanings, guys. Yes, the standard meaning is I, but it can mean spring. It has many other different meanings. Ghada, who knows what ghada means? Maybe it's a little bit tough. Lunch, yes, good. Who was that? Okay, Akash. What is it? Akasha. Yes, ghada is lunch. Now, fam, what is fam? Yeah, ghada in different contexts. Yeah, it can also mean food, but it means lunch. What is fam? Mouth. Yes. Qamar, we already know moon. Kalb, we already talked about. Ma, what does ma? Huh? Water. Yes, very good. Al walad, we did. Al hawa, what does hawa means? Huh? H2O, very good. Is air, very good. Al yad, what is yad? Hmm? Hand, very good. Okay, so let me quickly go through here. At-tajir, what is tajir? What is tajir? Trader, merchant, businessman, ahsantum, very good. Thawb, what is thawb? Not business itself. Tijara would be business, but the tajir is the person who's doing the business. Okay, so tajir doesn't mean business. At tijara would be business. Okay, now what is thawb? Clothes, yes, clothes, garment, very good. Dik, dik is the male version of what letter? What word? Which we eat every single time. Yes, dik is a rooster and chicken. Yes, so the judge would be chicken. Dhahab, be careful. What is dhahab? Hmm? What is dhahab? Gold, yes. So we'll learn very soon. The word dhahab is going to come up very soon in this book. But here's dhahab means when it comes like that, it is verb to go. So he went. But remember, the verb never has alif lam, so you have alif lam, so it is noun. Rajul, we did rajul. What is Zahra? Hmm? Zahra, Zahra. Flower, yes, very good. Flower. Sometimes people use warda for that also, but the warda, technically it means the rose. Samak, huh? Samak is what? Fish, very good. Shams, we know, sun. Okay, what is sadr? Huh? What is sadr? Anybody knows? Chest, very good. Sadr is chest. Daif, hmm? Be careful, this is not the same thing as da'if. Da'if. Pronunciation in Arabic is very, very okay. So you guys are getting already. I just told you to be careful. So a lot of you are writing al mustan. Everybody's writing old or weak. That is da'if. This is the old or not old, weak. This is da'if with the ya. Hmm? Not quite restaurant, but what do you think? Guest. Okay, guest. This word you will find in the book, in your main book. So you have to memorize. Or visitor. فهمتوا? طالب, you already know student. What is الظهر? الظهر. ظهر with the fatha. ظهر. It is the opposite of صدر. So what is that? No, ظهر would be to, yes, back, yes. I don't want to give you more words here right now, but memorize them and you will see these words, their verb forms will come later. What is laham? Meat, right? Dhuhr with the dhamma would be noon. Okay, that's why you have to be a little bit careful. Arabic is very sensitive, guys. It's sensitive with the pronunciation. It is also sensitive with the prolonging, and it is also sensitive with the haraka. Laham is meat, right? And the najm, we already had najm, so that concludes our explanation of the lesson number 3. We'll just have a quick peek at the book and then inshallah we'll wrap up today. So Darsu Thalith, as you can see, it's giving us the same thing, what we just learned, Baytun, Al-Baytu. We talked about them. There's nothing to discuss, right? Al-Qalamu Maksurun. So now you know that this is a sentence. Why? Very simple thing. The first one is definite and the second one is indefinite. So we have a sentence. Okay, something that inshallah will get very comfortable, and we have to get very comfortable very soon, because you will see if you change these things, the definiteness here and there, meaning changes. Okay, so you have to know. Al-babu maftuhun. So the door is open. Okay. Al-waladu jalisun. Here is the opposite. Another thing I always tell beginner students, if you can memorize, sometimes they will give you the opposites, mudad, opposite of the words in the same exercise, or in the same line. So memorize them together. So jalis and waqif. Jalis is the sitting and waqif is standing. So you see, so if you memorize them together as a pair, it will be helpful. So you see, now we started getting a longer sentences by adding wow. So this is something that inshallah you can easily do. If you find any words that is you cannot, you don't know, for example here thaqil, let's say you don't know, you can easily go back to this chapter number 3, and go back to your vocabularies and you will find them inshallah. Okay, anybody knows what thaqil means? Who knows? Heavy, yes. So he's saying al hajaru thaqilun. Okay, even if you cannot read, it's a dhamma, but you know it has to be dhammatain, right? It has to be double dhamma, thaqilun, because of the grammar. That's the beauty. If we did not put any of the haraka, you know exactly how to read. You'll read al hajaru thaqilun. You don't need somebody to put the haraka. You know the grammars already. Now, and what is al waraqa? Waraqa is paper, and khafif. Khafif is what is the opposite of thaqil. That's what I mean. Memorize them together. Okay. And nadif is what? Clean. Wasikh is dirty. So do these things. Same thing. Look how it's trying to train you without the harakat. Masjidun. You know what to put. You already learned it. And you say masjidu. Okay. Al-ma'u. Ma'un. So it's very simple things. Inshallah, you can do them. Don't skip them, guys. Especially if you need help, don't skip them and do read them loudly. I think, and also try to translate uh, I mean, translate, just read the translate as well to yourself or write them down, whichever works, but also try to translate, because just reading al-qamaru ba'id, al-qamaru ba'id, if you don't know what it means, it's not helping you too much. You should say it, al-qamaru ba'id means the moon is far. And as I said, if you stop, it's fine, but in the beginning, you should pronounce. Yes, it does. Very good. Ahsanti. Yeah, when you translate them, you know the meaning, makes things better. This is إملاء الفراغ فيما يلي بوضع الكلمة المناسب من الكلمات التالية. So basically he's saying this is interesting exercise to fill in the blank. Sometimes even if you don't know what this sentence means, I think by looking into exercise, you would know what they're expecting you to do. So, by looking at this, you know what you should be doing. You take a word from here and put it in here and make it into a complete sentence. Al, for example, do this one. Al mindil. We learned the mindil is tissue. So what would you say? This is the word wasir, which is the opposite of nadif. You have to write. You have to memorize. You have to memorize together, guys. You have to memorize together. Not equal. This is what I do usually. Okay. Okay, wasif, and then you put there's not equal sign so that to indicate that this is the opposite meaning. And I think you should be fine with all of these exercises. Here they give you, I'm going to use the term, but inshallah we'll use this term later. They give you a subject. In Arabic we call al-mubtada. We'll come to those terms. I'll just say it in English for now if you guys get uh irritated, intimidated. So they give you a subject and you're supposed to put a predicate, if you know your basic English grammar rules. Here they give you predicate, you're supposed to come up with a subject. Okay, so it give you nadif. See, there's no haraka, but you've seen this word before, nadifun, so you know what to put, and then you can make up. For example, shirt. You learn how to say shirt, right? Well, how do you say shirt? Qamis. So do you say qamisun? I'm going to write this thing here, but qamisun. Do you say qamisun nadifun? This is a correct phrase. There's nothing wrong with this, but the meaning is different. That's why this would be a very interesting segue to the topic that is coming. If you say qamisun nadifun, trust me, this makes sense. It has some meaning, but it's not a complete sentence. It's not a complete thought. Here, if you say qamisun sagirun without putting alif lam, it would be, as someone pointed out, is a phrase, adjective phrase. So it would mean a what? Clean, a clean shirt. Is it a sentence? No, it's a clean shirt. And we'll learn later that when the definiteness matches, like this is indefinite, then it becomes an adjective phrase. We'll talk about this thing. Same thing, even if it's definite and definite, if both of them are definite, then it will be an adjective phrase. Okay, so I don't want to bug you with this right now, but I'm just telling you, you have to be careful because the meaning changes. Now you're saying a clear shirt. We don't know what about a clear shirt. But if you say al-qamisu nadhifun, now you're making this same thing into a sentence. The shirt is clear or clean. Not clear, I meant to say right, clean. Clean. فهمتم? Now, so inshallah you will be able to do all of them. Then we have al-kalimat al-jadida. Make sure you know all of these words. If you don't, you know where to go. And then he's showing you the rules again. Naam. And make sure you read all of them and understand the meanings. Okay. Very simple. I don't see anything sophisticated here. It's just that words you have to know. Ghani, you have to know what ghani means. Okay. Jamil, you have to know what Jamil means. Ghani is rich. Jamil is beautiful. Okay. Now, Faqir is poor, which is the opposite of ghani. So then you have tamarin, which is the plural of tamrin. Just follow through this one. Iqra, waktub, same thing. I don't see anything going on. But here the book is talking about, the main book is talking about the sun letter, moon letter, and the sun letter. We went through them. So inshallah, these are very easy. Okay. So do them by yourself. Okay. The idea is that you learn the grammar rule from the text, and then you spend a lot of time doing these exercises. And when we have the lab hours, you can come and discuss. Okay, so first of all, our lecture is finished. Our today's lesson is finished. We covered lesson 1, 2, and 3. I really wanted to cover lesson 4 as well, but that's fine. Maybe next time we can do more. All right, so with that, we will wrap up here. Thank you everyone for coming. I hope to see you next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.